everyone, welcome back to my channel. This channel is dedicated to my gray hair, sustainability, and slow fashion. If that is of interest to you, go down to the description below and check out any of the videos that I have posted previously. And if you like any of them, consider subscribing. Having gray hair can be really difficult at times because we get a lot of weird looks and strange questions. So today I wanted to dedicate this video to self-love. I want to talk about some of the self-care and self-love lessons that I have learned from my grandmother that are incredibly easy to do and are actually, in fact, sustainable. So if you like this idea, stick around, give this video a like, and let's go into the video. So the first lesson I want to mention in today's video is self-love messages. My grandma has always been famous for doing this. She always sits down and just tells herself how much she loves herself. So she talks about her feet and thanks them for carrying her from place to place. She talks about her hands and thanks them for just making her be able to do things. She touches herself in different places, gives herself massage, and just appreciates her body. She talks about her knees, and I always found it so amusing how much she gets into talking about herself, and she just truly appreciates herself for who she is. I think it's such a great way of appreciating yourself and building self-confidence that doesn't cost any money, doesn't cost the environment anything. It just is kind of a form of meditation that helps my grandmother feel good about herself and appreciate herself for who she is. And I have started doing this, and it really does help. It really puts you in a great mood if you do it in the morning. And I think it's a really healthy way of promoting just self-love for who you are, no matter what shape, color, size, or condition you're in. The next act of self-love that my grandmother has taught me is the idea of facial massage. I have talked about facial massage in one of my previous videos that's popping up in the cards right now, and it really has changed my life. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed in the bathroom with some oil on the face, and I really get into the muscles of my face, and I have noticed such a drastic difference in just the few months that I have been using facial massage. Not like Botox drastic, but pretty drastic. If I haven't been doing face massage, I would have had a lot more wrinkles as a result of this quarantining and living with my family for 24/7. So it's my grandmother who's taught me self-massage, facial massage specifically. She has been doing it, for many years, and she looks incredible for her age. Her skin feels so soft, and she has wrinkles, obviously, because she is old, but not as many as people her age would without having any work done. And it's all thanks to the self-massage. I find facial massage is just another way of expressing self-love to your face, and it is kind of meditative, and it's especially really calming in the evening before you go to bed. So that's why I do it, and it also has the benefits of exercising those facial muscles to not sag as much as they would normally without any massage. Next act of self-love and self-care, and actually it is quite sustainable, and that's what got me into using oils on my face, was her always using exclusively olive oil on her face. And like I said before, her skin is incredible. She spreads olive oil on her face every morning and every evening, and her hands as well. And she looks incredible, she feels incredible, and her skin is just like the perfect plumpness. It's not dry, it's not oily. So that's where I got the idea. As you know from that video on my skincare routine, I use olive oil to cleanse my skin of makeup, and I think it works super well. It gets all the dirt out, and I of course follow it with non-oil cleanser, a water-based cleanser, but she doesn't. She just leaves it on because she doesn't use any makeup. So she just leaves it on, and that's her moisturizer. Using olive oil on your face is a great way of avoiding or cutting down at least on using packaged products. And that's why I think it's a little bit more sustainable. The next act of self-care and self-love that I've learned from my grandmother is doing something you absolutely love at least once a month. She has this activity that she loves doing, and it involves going to the sauna with lots of different women who are her friends, and it becomes less of a health and wash experience and more of a social interaction experience with some health benefits. So she swears by it. She cannot feel like herself if she doesn't do it at least once a month. She actually does it twice a month. So her words of wisdom are always, do something you really, really love, even if it costs some money, at least once a month. This activity can be sustainable depending on what you love. Of course, if you love traveling, that is not so sustainable, especially in the times right now, and also is not very wallet friendly. For example, if you really love horses, make sure you go horse riding or horse grooming once a month. If you really like wine, make sure you have that really good bottle of wine at least once a month with your friends to make sure that you are having a great quality of life and making sure that you are experiencing things that you love, as opposed to just getting in the rut of the routine and forgetting to take care of yourself. Kind of going hand in hand with this suggestion, the next act of self-care that my grandmother always talks about is quality over quantity. So she is a big proponent of this, and this is where I've learned that buying good quality clothing in lesser number is probably much better than buying lots of cheaply made clothing. She always talks about how good quality makes you feel more responsible to, let's say, a garment, or if you go to a better restaurant, it makes you feel like you should probably enjoy this food a little more than buying cheap things. She says that if you constantly focus on the quality rather than the quantity, it will make for a greater life experience overall. So if you're always eating out in restaurants, but they're okay restaurants, you do not appreciate really food and the taste that much. But if you eat out in restaurants a little less frequently, but you focus on the quality of the restaurant and the food, you would appreciate the food a little more. And same goes for clothing and anything else that has quality associated with it. If you have one garment that is really good quality, but it was a little bit more expensive, you would appreciate and care for it more than you would for that fast fashion piece of clothing that didn't cost very much. So in the end, that piece of clothing that is more expensive would last you longer. So in the end, it might be less expensive per wear than that cheap fast fashion piece of clothing. The reason why this is sustainable is because, of course, buying better quality clothing, you are ensuring that you are supporting companies that perhaps value higher ethical standards, or they may even use really eco-friendly fabrics. Also, buying secondhand continues with that idea of giving clothing new life. Additionally, secondhand clothing that comes from previous decades is usually better quality than clothing is made now. So by buying secondhand clothing that was made a long time ago and it's just been sitting in somebody's closet, you're probably ensuring that you're getting better quality than you would if you buy a new piece of clothing now. Going along with the theme of quality, my grandmother always talks about how cooking your own food is an act of self-care, because you ensure that you know what goes into your food, you are taking the time to understand the food and where it came from, and that makes you be more aware of the ingredients and the health benefits of food. This, she says, is the secret behind her being healthy and in great shape in her 80s right now. So I'm gonna stick to cooking my own food because of her. Of course, going along with the theme of food, she always talks about how eating seasonally is always better than eating out of season. So whenever it's summer, we gorged ourselves on berries when I was little. When it is fall, we focus on the root vegetables. In the winter, we eat actually quite a lot of pickled things that were prepared by our friends. And buying in the season produce ensures that it's the best quality produce, especially if you buy organic, because it is filled with vitamins. There is no oxidation happening, so those vitamins, which are the chemicals in the fruit and vegetables, of course, are not breaking down, so you are getting the full benefit of what that fruit was intended to be, instead of buying it from far away in the middle of winter and it's not really of the best quality. The next self-care or self-love lesson that I've learned from my grandmother is natural is always, sometimes, probably best. So she is the type of person who always turns to natural remedies or natural skin and hair care first before turning to things you can find in the drugstore. So the reason why she does it is because she's of the idea that natural is best. The reason why I do it is because natural is probably more eco-friendly. In some cases it's not, but in a lot of cases than the store-bought version. So some of the examples that my grandmother does is she will use peels from all kinds of fruits such as mangoes and lemons to like do hand masks, or if it's cucumbers, she will like put it on your face. She knows a lot of wild plants that are edible and that are good for skin and hair care, and she will often pick them and use them. And sometimes she knows remedies for some health concerns, but they are mild. You know, she's not gonna try to treat an ulcer with some herb. She will go to the doctor. This idea always reminds me of the fact that nature has basically everything we need to survive, and a lot of the native populations have been using nature to their advantage for a long time. So it's really important to keep that knowledge going in our society so we can take care of ourselves in the least impactful way. And this is why I love this idea from my grandmother, and I stick to it in my own life. One more act of self-care and self-love that my grandma taught me is mindful eating or drinking. So whenever she has a meal or a snack, she will lay it out very beautifully. She will look at it before she eats, and she will thank the universe for providing her with this food. And she will thank the universe for her ability to consume this food. And only then will she eat it. And the way she eats it is she is very deliberate and she's very slow. She savors every bite. And I just love this idea because not only does it teach you to appreciate the food that you have, it makes you think about the ingredients and the people who have put their efforts into growing this food, I guess. But it also shows that you are taking care of your body and your soul when consuming food in this way, which I just love. So there you go. These are the lessons that I have learned from my grandmother, who is very much alive. So if I ever did say, did or said, I didn't mean it. She is very alive and well today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you will join me next time when I talk about what makeup colors go well with gray hair and which colors don't actually work anymore for me, for my gray hair, for my coloring. So I hope that's of interest to you. So once again, thank you very much for spending this time with me and watching this video and sticking to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye.